beating you. Calm down.
You gonna beat my boy, nigga.
Folks, send me some paper, folks. You bought a 200K book. Yeah, peanut butter. In that two piece, we pop, pop, drop that boy.
Billy J in the house. He's here in the house. I'm so full. NRP. Oh my God. Oof. Too full. Billy J. Just full. Too full.
What's good, Jay? Yeah, what's up, Jay?
What's up, you guys? How y'all doing?
Who's doing the training?
What's that?
I said, who's doing the training?
I'm doing a training class.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me 1 second here. Alright, you guys. How are you doing today? Cool. Looks like it might be just the two of y'all.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Alright. So I don't know if you've taken any other classes before, but the way the class is going to work is I'm going to take StreamChamp. That's going to be your entry attendance. I'm going to leave during the training. I'm going to make note of an early departure. So I'll need you to be here for the whole class to get credit for it, alright?
Okay.
Cool. At some point during the class, I'm going to call each person so that you guys have a chance to participate. So that way you're not just sitting there listening to me talk the whole time. But the violations class, so basically all the violations that you can put on somebody as a police officer, we're going to go over those violations in this class and what they mean. So now's your chance to ask if you're not sure, what a violation is or what the difference is between the different violations or what you can charge people with, or you need clarification on something in particular, then now's the time to ask questions.
Okay.
Alright, so starting right off the bat here, let me get my screenshot first of all. Okay. Yeah, just 1 second.
Wait, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you now.
Alright, good. If I start breaking up for whatever reason, you guys just let me know, and I'll relog or whatever I have to do. I'm kind of in a weird area, so Yeah, just scream at me if my mic.
I want to be a police officer.
You're breaking
Let's
up.
start off with making sure that everybody can find out where. Hi, Mr. Papa. What's up, buddy?
What's goody? Oh, can't hear you. You're losing connection.
Gonna play rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Who wins? Gets to punch someone's.
Whenever you're along, guys.
Somebody call the police.
Okay, taking me to pieces.
Alright, this is my last class.
Arrest them, Alan. Arrest them. Arrest them. Tase them.
Hi, Monica.
Hey, man. Get him, Alan. Get him. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I leave?
Sergeant was a prank, Alan.
It was a prank. Jay, can you come pick me up?
What kind of class is this?
I got shots.
It'll be a misdemeanor charge, Alan.
It's a class for like violations and shit like that.
Sir, I didn't do nothing. Can I please
leave
leave?
class already?
Okay.
We're good. Just move.
Sergeant with 3.5, Alan. Misdemeanor.
1032. HP. We have 1013.
Leave me alone, please.
1023.
Hey man, if you can't do the 10, don't do the crime.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What's good, little nigga?
Mommy.
Alright, hopefully I have a better connection.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Hello, I'm here. I'm alone. The Muslims. مرحبا باسيك لوجيستيك شنو هذا الاسم؟ Hello, the Muslim. Hello.
Operations by force. How you doing, Mr. Drexen?
You're a very good teacher.
Thanks, man. Alright, so seizing government buildings by force. So this is a group like storming PD, the hospital, or a government building, locking down entrances or controlling access to that facility, or declaring control over that facility. If you were an officer, your response to that situation would be to call for backup immediately, because it would be a high priority situation. You don't engage alone, and you want to establish a perimeter and wait for a coordinated response from the SWAT team if possible. Mr. Wooten, would you mind grabbing this guy and taking him out?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I will whoop your motherfucking ass. Get out.
Shut up, bitch.
You have a nice band. I got my body cam on.
Somebody get the sound.
He's gonna be done with Shine. Come on, have a
Okay. It's like, I just had to slap the shit out of him real quick, because who the fuck you talking to?
Joshua, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was me. I went to the bathroom. It was me. I'm just a kid.
Tell your uncle, brother, or cousin to wash their mouth.
Look, I'm gonna take you.
I'm gonna go kill him.
Alright.
I'll be right back.
All right, you guys. Let's continue. All right. So, is there any questions about what capture state institutions are? 1.1.
No.
Alright, moving right along. Let's go to 1.2, taking power by force. This is attempting to overthrow authority to take control through violence. So this would be like an organized group of people taking control or leadership, right? This is an armed takeover attempt. The key difference between this and a 1.1 is this is a broader one. It's not just buildings, but a controlling control in general, like an area or whatever. It doesn't have to be a government building like a hospital or PD. This is just a group of people taking control of a particular area. So this is taking power by force. And generally they'd have like guns out or they'd be threatening violence to do this. So that's a 1.2. 1.3, taking hostages or kidnapping. This is a pretty easy one, just like it sounds. Holding somebody against their will to gain leverage or control, demanding money, escape, or favors, and the victim's unable to leave. So if this meets that qualification, this is what you would charge them with, which is a 1.3, taking a hostage or kidnapping. The officer response to this situation would be to basically try and negotiate, or decrease the aggression in the situation. You would call your supervisors, try to find out who's responsible for negotiations here at PD, and then try to preserve the life of the person you're dealing with, so you want to RPA this out correctly. Maybe you'll call in SWAT, you'll get a negotiator to the scene. It's not just run up there, try to tase him or shoot him so you can let the guy go. You're never going to engage in that situation by yourself. You're going to try to call in backup, basically, for that. Any questions?
No.
Okie dokie. 1.4, fatal collision with a pedestrian. So this is anytime a vehicle causes the death of a pedestrian. This is like a hit and run, a reckless driving that results in the death of somebody, right? So anytime there's a person that's not in a car and they get hit by a car and they die. This doesn't happen very often in this game, but they could be low on health or whatever and they get hit by a car and they die. If that happens, then you can charge them with a 1.4. You want to secure the scene, call EMS to take care of the victim, and determine the intent. So if the guy was coming around the corner too fast, driving a little reckless, but he accidentally ran somebody over and killed him, then, he still is probably going to be charged with a crime. But then the question is, did he do it on purpose? Was he just mowing people down like VDM? Or was he just driving recklessly and not paying attention to what he was doing? Either way, you could still charge him with the 1.4 with a fatal collision to a pedestrian. How you RP it, though, is going to be different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. 1.5, attempted theft. So trying to steal, but not successfully completing it. So if somebody attempts to steal from a civilian or something like that, and they're trying to say, hey, I'm going to take, give me $50,000. And they don't end up getting the $50,000 for whatever reason. They've attempted the theft, but they did not complete the theft. So maybe they're trying to break into a car or a store. Something like that. Or maybe they're reaching for items but get stopped. Maybe they're using a /do or /try to make this happen. So that would be an attempted theft. Alright, 1.6, robbery of a police officer. It's kind of the same thing we just talked about, except it's on a police officer. Sometimes you can be out in the field, and what this might look like is somebody gets into your patrol car and says, hey, I'm stealing your car, right? They're in the front seat, they're in the driver's seat. They're telling you that they're going to steal your car, they're attempting to steal your car. This is robbery of a police officer. They may be trying to use /do or /try to take weapons, equipment, or money from you, or maybe even using threats or violence against you to gain whatever it is that they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the response to this is going to be an immediate escalation. You're going to want to call for backup and treat it as a high-risk suspect. So that's basically the same thing as a 1.5, except it's on a police officer. And you know, they can use, like I said, they can use /do /try. That might actually be something they're trying to rob you, steal your car, take your taser, take your gun, control the situation, that kind of stuff. They're robbing you of something as a police officer. Maybe just taking your money. All right, 1.7, uncoordinated entry into protected territory. This is one you're going to see a lot. We throw a macro a lot when we're like in green zones and people are refusing to leave. We throw this one up right here. It says, please leave the green zone. This is not a chill zone or be arrested for 1.7 or 3.2. This is 1.7. This is an uncontrolled entry into a protected area. So any green zone where somebody's refusing to leave, they don't have any business there, anything like that, that's going to be your 1.7. So this is civilians entering the PD, secure zones, the hospital, that kind of stuff, right? And they're ignoring police commands to leave. So you're not just going to throw this on there. You're not just going to see somebody in a green zone or a hospital or anything like that and just throw a 1.7 on them, arrest them. You're going to give them warnings. You're going to do countdowns. There's a whole procedure to how we use it. But in that situation, this is the charge we put on there for them not leaving that zone. So they're going to get a charge for a 3.2, which is not listening to the officer's commands, and a 1.7, which is that unprotected entry, uncoordinated entry into protected territory.
Mr. Kobe, 1.9, 3.1, 3.6, and 1.10. Which one of those are infractions and which ones of those are misdemeanors?
So the way you tell is 1 is going to be a felony.
Okay.
Yeah, so all your 1s are felonies, all your 2s, are going to be your misdemeanors, and all your 3s are going to be infractions. Sorry, I said that backwards. I think I said that backwards. 2s are infractions. 3s are misdemeanors. 1s are felonies. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, so 1.8, collision with a pedestrian. Hitting a pedestrian without causing their death. So we talked about causing their death, right? So that was a fatal collision with the pedestrian 1.4. This 1.8 is basically hitting them, but they don't die. So very similar charge, so the victim survives. In this situation, you'd want to apprehend the person who collided with the pedestrian. You'd want to call EMS to make sure the person's going to be okay, RP it out properly, secure the scene, determine if the intent was reckless or it was intentional. Like I said again, the charge will be the same, but how you RP it will be different. Any questions?
No.
Okay. 1.9. Discharging a weapon in public. So this is pretty easy. Somebody's firing a weapon in public. There it is, 1.9. There's not much more to say about that. So whenever a police officer comes upon a scene and there's somebody discharging a weapon, generally we're going to call in one of our 10 codes, which can be 1013, which is the shots fired. That'll basically prompt 1032, which is backup. So people will come and get back up to the situation and handle that situation. So let me ask you this: if somebody's just walking around outside on a street corner or in a green zone or wherever with the weapon out, is that a 1.9?
I mean, yes, if there's a shooting, you don't know if they're the shooter.
Yeah, there you go. That's the key, right? Did they shoot? But if they just have the weapon out, it's not a 1.9, right?
Yeah.
So in order to be 1.9, they have to discharge that weapon. It doesn't matter if they're discharging it in the air, they're discharging it at a car, at a police officer, at a civilian, whatever. That charge is a 1.9.
Okay.
All right, 1.10, bribing a police officer. So this is a pretty easy one. What do you think, Alan? What's bribing a police officer? Yeah, I might offer you money, favors, drugs, my favorite cigar, a good bottle of whiskey, whatever. Bribing me to let you out of jail is going to be bribing a police officer, 1.10. All right. right, 1.1, murder of a civilian or a police officer. So it doesn't matter if it's a civilian or a police officer. This murder charge is a 1.11. Sorry, 1.11, murder of a civilian or police officer. This is intentionally killing another person. So you had the intent to kill them, you used lethal force, and now they're dead. So in this case, if it's a police officer that you notice that dies, you'll of course call in to dispatch, let them know you got a 10-100, which means the officer's down. You let them know the location. They'll send a high priority backup to the area, so they'll respond to that. If it's a civilian, you'll get a call in and let them know that there's shots fired, or suspect there, and they'll send backup. So it's going to be a similar response. We're probably going to rush a little faster for a down cop. I don't know, maybe. But either way, we're going to respond to that situation with priority, and we're going to get out there and try to take care of it and apprehend the people that are murdering people. The next one I'm going to talk about is 1.2, and I'm going to touch on both of these back just for a second. So 1.12, assault on a police officer. This is anytime somebody hits a police officer. So like the guy that was just in here a little while ago, walked up and was punching Monica. If Monica had been a cop, then that would be punch, punch, punch. There would be a charge placed on that person for a 1.12. Punching, hitting, or fighting, any physical resistance escalating to violence. So that's going to be your 1.12. So remember, the key between a 111 and a 112 is in one case the person dies, in the other case it's just punching and hitting and fighting. And one thing to be careful with as a police officer is whenever you're in a green zone, a white zone, and people punch you as a police officer, the state is going to probably put a charge on that person. And I say probably because you're going to want to make sure that you check and see if that person does have a charge for that punch or hit. Before you go and try to apply a charge for a 1.12 or a 1.11, you're going to want to ensure that the state hasn't already done that. Otherwise, you'd be double charging them. They'd have double the jail time. It'd be an issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Assuming that makes sense. All right, cool. All right, so that concludes all of our felony violation charges. So felony violations are the most serious infractions. You'll notice as you become a police officer, until you hit a certain rank, you may not be able to place felony charges on people. That doesn't mean that you should select a different charge for that person, like a misdemeanor or an infraction, and put the one charge in that area. That's not how you do it. You need to get a higher rank, like a vested officer, like Mr. Billions J over there, or myself, or Mr. Keats, would be able to place those one charges until you get the proper promotion, the proper level to be able to place those felony charges on people. Make sure you remember that, because I guarantee you when you become a badged officer, you're going to pull up your menu for the first time to place a charge for a 1 point whatever, and you're going to be like, why in the hell do I only have two options, or why do I only have one option? And the reason for that is that you're not high enough to place those felony charges on people just yet. You're going to need to see a supervisor or a vested officer to help you with those charges.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the two charges. So these are going to be all of our civil violations, or I think it's called infractions now. This is going to be your two charges. So we're going to start with 2.1, harm or damage to state property. So this is damaging anything owned by the government. So let's just figure out what that is for a second. If somebody damages Monica's sweet-looking pink car outside, would that be a 2.1, harm or damage to state property?
No.
No, because Monica's car is not owned by the state. It's owned by Monica.
2.2.
Yeah, exactly, 2.2. So that's going to be harm or damage to private property. Now, if Monica's, cruising around a corner over there and she smashes into a fire hydrant and a telephone pole and she keeps on driving, did Monica just damage state property?
Yes.
Yep. If Monica spray paints on the side of a gang house or something like that, is she damaging state property, or is she damaging, gang property?
Gang property.
Yeah, so just be careful. Like, if it belongs to the state, an overpass, that belongs to the state. I would say just be careful about which type of property it is that they're damaging. Maybe they're crashing into somebody's personal car. Maybe they're crashing into a PD car. PD car is state property. The other car is not. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. 2.3, false calls to police or emergency services. So this is a hard one to kind of get these days. So making fake reports or wasting emergency resources. So I can think of a few RP scenarios. Loosely, I used to think, like people that come in to make fake supervisor calls. They've got no reason for calling for a supervisor. They're wasting that time. I kind of like the 2.3 for false calls to police or emergency services. Now, that's not really approved yet, but I'm just kind of giving you examples outside of somebody actually dialing 911, which we don't actually have a dispatch for 911. But if, let's say, they were to call a member of dispatch. Billions, are you a member of dispatch? I don't know who that is.
Excuse me, I need a sergeant when you're on this one.
Yeah, I'll assist you. I just need to
Okay. Alright, so if Billions was, and I had Billions' phone number, and let's say I was a gang member or a civilian, and I called Billions' phone and said, hey man, there's a bunch of people standing over here by Premium Dealership, and they're killing people, and they're blasting off weapons, they're taking over the whole place. The whole PD rushes out there, we have a huge response, and hey, you know what, it turns out none of that's true. It was just me trying to, get cops, to that part of the town. Maybe I'm going to ambush them. Maybe I'm just trying to, troll them or whatever. And, that would be false calls to the police. That's about how you could get that charge right now, 2.3. I see that one very regularly because it doesn't happen very often, but I guess that's some way it can have. But it would be a serious crime. You want to make sure you confirm that it is false. If somebody says somebody got killed over here and they're dead, and you happen not to go around the corner and check the alley, or you basically called it off as we're code 4, scene's clear. Maybe it wasn't a fake charge. So you definitely want to make sure that you confirm that it's a false call.
Okay.
All right, 2.4 debauchery. This is a good one. Disruptive or annoying behavior after being warned. So you ever had somebody you're sitting there trying to RP a scene, and somebody is like playing loud music or making some stupid noises in the phone, or coming up into a room right here and telling me to F off or shut up or anything like that. You ever seen that before? Yeah, open mics, playing music, that kind of stuff. That's going to be annoying or disruptive behavior. So that's going to be debauchery, 2.4. So if you're ever like at HP and somebody's, just open mic, annoying, maybe they're making super loud, screeching noises into the, mic or whatever, just trying to disrupt your ability to properly RP the scene, or, just troll people with disruptive noises or anything. Or maybe they're doing harassing behavior, or maybe they're RPing like they're spitting on you or something, right? So that all can be also debauchery, 2.4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so remember, you always want to make sure you give warnings. You don't want to just hear an open mic or hear music playing, run over there, throw cuffs on them, and say, oh, you know what, that's debauchery 2.4. In anything that we do as PD officers, there's a ton of things we have to do to warn people first. We're going to tase them, we're going to arrest them, we're going to do, whatever. We're going to place charges on them. We want to give them a warning to correct the behavior and see if they're going to leave the area, follow the orders, and fix the situation on their own. Just arresting them for something you're noticing is kind of like not fair. It's too short. Doesn't really make for a great RP interaction. So always remember to give people warnings.
781023.
You can say something like, "Hey, the music's not allowed. You're not supposed to have an open mic music. I can't talk to this person. I can't hear myself think. Would you mind turning it off?" You want to be respectful too. You want to go over there and say, "Hey, turn that effing music off," or "Turn the damn music down," or anything like that. Right? You want to be respectful. You're a PD officer. You use respect. You ask them, "Would you mind doing this? Would you please do that?" No power tripping. Alright, moving along, 2.5, murder threats. So this is pretty easy. Threatening to kill anybody, even if you don't actually kill them. You just say, maybe somebody's in your backseat of your car, and they say, hey Don, just wait until you get outside. When you get out, if I see you outside, I'm going to wait for you outside. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to murder you. That right there, that's a murder threat, 2.5. You might actually hear them tell somebody else, oh, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to murder you. There you go. So it doesn't actually have to be, an actual, firing at them or anything like that. It can just be words. It can be intent alone. You can charge them for that. Look there. There's some more debauchery happening right there behind you. Hey, Billions, come up here and get this guy, King Shelly. He's running out.
Is he cool?
No, because he's running around hitting on people. What's wrong with him?
I keep forgetting I'm not an officer. I was gonna tase it.
All right, let's move along to insulting a state employee, 2.6. This is verbally disrespecting any government workers, PD and EMS. I mean, you might be standing out there, not just insulting yourself or other officers, but you might hear somebody just sitting there, insulting the crap out of any EMS worker or something like that. That's going to be a state employee as well. You too much of that. So not every insult is a charge, though. Just remember that. So if I went up to you out there and I was trying to troll you or whatever, and I said, if I said, hey, why'd you pick that outfit? That outfit's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's probably not going to be a 2.6, right? Why'd you shave your head like that? That doesn't look good. Be careful, right? You don't want to crash out or do anything. It has to be excessive, repeated, disruptive. It probably needs to be, outside of RP. It can be inside RP, but it needs to be something that's like really disrespectful to you. This is not something you just want to just, throw an insulting charge for, some stupid little deal. So just be very careful about how you use this, and make sure that you're not being too sensitive. Be professional, and if it crosses a line and you're really offended by it, or they're really making insults towards you, there you go, 2.6.
Okay.
All right, 2.7, extortion. This is forcing someone to give you money, items, or favors through threats. So it's like giving money under hurt or threatening harm unless paid. Somebody says something, I'll give you $60,000 to let me go, release me. These types of things. So this is going to be extortion. Remember, there's a difference between bribery and extortion. So bribery is where a civilian offers an office or something. Extortion could happen just, between civilians. You know what I'm saying? So, but it forces somebody else to do something for something. You're forcing them to do it. So you're extorting them, basically. Any questions on extortion or how it differs from bribery?
No.
All right. With that, we're going to move right into administrative violations. So these are the least charges. So all of these charges are not really something you're going to arrest somebody for. Some of these charges are something you're going to get a ticket for. You might even give a warning, but if you're putting a 3 charge on somebody, you're pretty much giving them a citation or a ticket. You're going to allow that person to come in and turn themselves in for that crime. Let them take care of it. So like if you're driving your car around the city and they cross over a lane of traffic, maybe they run a red light or a stop sign, it's dangerous behavior, but you're going to give them a 3.4 for that, for reckless driving or for running the stop sign or whatever. But you're not going to arrest them probably. You're just going to give them the 3.4 and let them take care of, whatever that traffic citation or whatever it is that they gave them. That's really the best example of not really arresting somebody for a charge. It's not about just arresting everybody. It's about, properly RPing and stuff. If you gave somebody a violation and then they never took care of it and then they're running around and, later you pulled them over, another officer pulled them over and they had a 3.4 on them, at that point it's like an unpaid ticket, becomes like a warrant, and then they might get arrested. They might actually be charged for that. So there is certain situations where people might actually get jailed for smaller offenses or crimes, but only in the event that they actually don't come in and take care of them. Maybe they got that charge 30 minutes ago and they could have had ample time to come into PD to take care of it, just didn't do it. Just like a traffic ticket in real life. So let's talk about 3.1, resisting arrest. This is actively attempting to avoid being detained or arrested. So what that looks like is you're running from officers. Maybe you're trying to fight while doing that. Maybe you're trying to put cuffs on somebody, and they're running around in circles just far enough to where the time's out, and then you have to do it again and again, and you just can't seem to get cuffs on that person. That would be all perfect examples of resisting arrest. So you just have to remember that it has to be active resistance. It can't just be, hey, I'm gonna, if you try to handcuff me, I'm gonna run off. I'm not gonna let you handcuff. That's not really active resistance. That's just me talking about resistance.
Okay.
All right. So remember, your responsibility as an officer is to escalate force appropriately. You can call for backup if necessary, but not every situation means pull your taser out and tase them either. There needs to be a threat, or you need to have like the inability to actually control that person or handcuff that person. So if they're going to get away, all right, they're running down the street, you're chasing them. That might be an appropriate time to go ahead and tase them. It wouldn't be an appropriate time to turn around and just start blasting and shooting them. You wouldn't want to escalate the violence that way. But if along the way they're jogging, they pull out an AK-47, you see them turn and point it at you, they even started firing, then yeah, you're gonna switch over and you're gonna start AKing them, right? It's not gonna be a taser situation anymore. So that will escalate, kind of as it goes. But then again, we're not really talking about just resisting arrest at this point. Now we're talking about discharging a firearm. We're talking about assault on a police officer, possibly murder, lots of different things. And you can charge people with multiple violations, by the way. It's not just one violation, like I charged you with the 3.4, so I can't charge you with anything else. No, you can charge them with the 3.2, 3.4, or 1.7, 2.5. If they've committed those infractions, you can charge them with all those things, right? So as long as they've actually committed those offenses, you can stack, I hate to use the word stack, but you can put all those charges on one person. Now, if they shot at 3 different people or discharged their weapon 3 different times, you're not going to give them 3 different, discharging weapons charges. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give them multiple charges of the same violation. You're going to give them different violations, but you can give them multiple violations.
You got ghost.
Okay.
All right, 3.2. Again, this one was in that macro I threw earlier. This is a kind of a favorite. Disobeying a police officer. So this is failing to follow lawful commands given by an officer. Ignoring commands such as stop, put your hand up, don't run away from me, anything like that. Refusing to leave an area, just not complying with the orders that you're giving is a refusal or disobeying a police officer. So with those types of things, you can give them 3.2s, right? So you just remember disobeying somebody is passive, and resisting is an active type deal. So you have passive and active. That's how you get the 2 differences between the charges. So resisting arrest and disobeying a police officer can happen both in the same interaction. They can do both of those things, and you could pretty much charge them with 3.1 and 3.2. Many situations, though, may be one or the other. So it's just careful what you're doing. Think about the situation. If ever you have questions about what charges to put on somebody, put on whichever charges that you're supposed to put on them, and you question anything else. It might be a good opportunity until you get a little more confident with yourself. Go see somebody like Billions J with the vest on, or a suited officer like myself or Mr. Keats, and ask them, hey, is this appropriate? This is a situation, and check until you get comfortable with it.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about 3.3, aiding the resisting of arrest. This one can happen pretty easy. This is like you handcuff somebody and somebody shouts out to their friend, hey, kill this cop. And that guy says, all right, I'll kill him. And then maybe you get in your police car, you're driving away, and now he's following you, and he's in the side of your police car or trying to make you stop so he can tase you out or whatever. Or maybe he's just shooting at the guy and tries to kill the guy you got in handcuffs so you can't arrest him. These types of things can be considered aiding of arrest. So they're trying to help this guy escape. That's something you can do. So blocking you, helping a suspect escape, or interfering with detainment in any way would definitely count for aiding the resisting of arrest. Even standing in your way. They're standing in front of you, and maybe they're how HP has that little medical room over there. Let's say somebody runs in the back of that room and says, "Oh, you're not handcuffing, you're not arresting that guy," and then somebody stands in that doorway, and now you can't get to that guy. He's helping that guy not be arrested.
So would you arrest both of them at that point?
Yeah, I would arrest the guy that I'm trying to arrest for whatever he's doing. I'd give him a resisting arrest charge, and then I would give the other guy the aiding of a resisting of arrest charge. So that would be a different charge for the other guy, but he would get a charge as well. And then, like I said, there's some 3s that you arrest for, there's some 3s that you don't, right? So violating a traffic rule, I would arrest you. There's helping somebody resist arrest, I'm probably going to arrest you. Right? Disobeying a police officer, depending on the situation, I may or may not arrest you in this situation as well. If you're, assault on a civilian, we're going to talk about that 3.5 much, right?
There's like a hundred buildings that it's like.
If you're physically attacking another person, punching by his home, you're going to go to jail. And if you see a fight, a cop's probably going to come up. You don't have to write tickets and say, "Hey guys, go up on your way." He's probably going to arrest somebody, and he's going to put charges on somebody for assault. In that case, you're going to go down to jail. You're going to get booked. You get out. It's not going to be all jail time. You're probably going to see a judge. You know, it's an offense. It's not a super serious one, but you're still going to go to jail. So there are certain things in the 3 category that you're going to take people to jail for, and there are certain things that you're not. Depends on how serious it is. And on that note, 3.6, refusal to present requested documents. So a lot of the times as officers, all the time as an officer, let's say you do a traffic stop or you do interaction with a civilian, you're going to want to identify that civilian. You may want to ask for car specs, driver's license, whatever the case may be. When you do so, when they refuse to present those documents to you, maybe it's a handgun license, whatever. If you have valid cause to show ID, like maybe they're hanging around a scene with a dead body on the ground when you rolled up and they're the only one standing there with an AK. Well, guess what? That makes them a suspect. And you're going to want to identify that person, question, or they might just be a witness. But either way, you're going to want to question that person, get that stuff. If they ended up killing that person, they're probably going to have a charge on them, and when you run that warrant ID check, they're going to go to jail. That crime, the actual murder for the person laying on the ground, may not get solved.
Dispatch show code.
You can set that in. We'll let them investigate and see if they can figure out who did it. But the state putting charges on people, the person that's standing there, whether or not they were the person or not, if they have a charge on them, you can arrest them for that charge because it got placed on them automatically. But they need to present that ID to you. If they say, no, you know what, I know how to do that, maybe they know they got that violation on them, well, guess what? You're going to arrest them anyway. You're going to bring them into the station. We're going to take them into a room. We're going to fingerprint them. We're going to run their ID anyway. We're going to find out that they have charges, and they're going to go into jail the long way. Instead of doing it the short way, they're going to take more time, but they're going to jail the long way. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So they're going to get that extra charge too. So the difference is if they had just complied, they wouldn't get the 3.6 on top and get the extra 5 minutes or whatever. But they're going to end up with the extra 5 minutes with the 3.6. So just remember though, anytime you ask for ID, it has to be a lawful request. You're not just walking around the city and being like, hey, let me get your ID. Let me get your ID. You need to have a reason to be suspicious, right? If they're standing next to a dead body, they got a gun out on a street corner. I mean, just having a weapon out in the white zone, that's enough, right? That you to go up and ask for a gun license at the very least. All right. So with that, that's the last thing we kind of have to talk about. That takes us through all of our violations. Let's. I heard from Don a lot. I know Billions J knows this stuff. Alan, you've been through these classes pretty much. Let's look at you two guys came in late, Mr. Drexen and Mr. Atherton. Do y'all either both of you guys know how to find the violations first of all? Can I get a yes? You gotta know how to find the violations by clicking on the book, clicking on rules, clicking on violations.
Yes.
So Atherton, you do. Drexen, how about you? Drexen's not answering. He might not have a mic or something. Alright. So how you would find it is by clicking on the book, clicking on rules, clicking on violations. That's going to give you all of these things we're talking about today. So if anybody wants to shout this out, so if somebody punches an officer, right? This is not punching a civilian, but somebody punches a police officer. What's the charge for that? Don't everybody answer at once. That's right, Billions J. 1.12. Alright, if somebody's spray painting an overpass, what do you think the charge is going to be for that? Yeah, quick to the draw. 2.1, that's right. The armor damage to state property. Alright, we're not gonna sit and we're not gonna go through a whole bunch of
I'm
these.
supposed to be answering them.
Yeah, he knows them. He knows them. But you guys, y'all know the general. We went through all of them. You know where to find them. So the idea is I just want to give you a couple of scenarios where you are thinking about what charges would be applied in that scenario, right? So, this is how you're going to be out there. You're going to be observing people. You're going to have a body cam on. And you're going to need to be able to see, and you might not know which number it is, but you might know that, oh yeah, that's definitely illegal. And at least this way you'll be able to react to the situation, you'll be able to access your book, access your resources, and then you can actually you need to be one people on how to do it, right? So definitely get familiar, study this more. Don't let this class be the last time you take a look at violations until you're standing out there in front of a civilian trying to figure out what happened when they spit on you and what charge you're supposed to be putting on them for spitting on you, right? So definitely take the time on your own time to review these again and go through the list. And if you have any questions between now and then, or you need more clarification on something, find somebody like Mr. Billions Joe with the vest on, or myself with a suit on, or any other officer with a suit on, and we'll be happy to answer those questions and give you some more detail.
Okay, how many classes I gotta take before I could join?
You got to take at least 4. So there's 5 classes that you can take. You take 4 of them. If you get 4 of them done, you can join an interview at a hiring event, which they happen twice a day pretty much. You can be hired at that point, and then the last class, you'll still take it, but you'll take it as an unbadged officer.
Okay.
Alright, so let me get a screenshot real quick of the people who finally stayed here. We got this guy back again. Alright, so I appreciate you guys coming today. I got what I need for you guys. I'll upload your training documents here in just a few minutes, so you'll get credit for the class. Drexen, you came in late, so I'm going to note that you were a late arrival, but I do appreciate you coming to the class, sir. This is Don. You got full credit for it, and of course, Jay and Alan Wooten. I appreciate you guys staying here through the class as well.
When's the next class?
The classes happen every day. They happen at noon, 3, 6, and 9 Eastern time. So the next class p.m. tonight.
Okay.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Oh shit, Arthur, what you doing online, boy? Up at the crib, what's the